competitive metrics are what the search network is all about. This is really like when you start using these competitive metrics, you're a search marketer. That's how you know that you're a search marketer. Other channels don't have this. It doesn't exist in other channels because it's not how it works. So earlier in the course, I was talking about the concept of audiences, and on Google search, your audience is your people searching, right? So how do you increase the audience, right? Like how do you get more people to search? You don't. You build brand awareness on Facebook ads or TikTok or something like that's how you get more people to search. So like when you're trying to scale a brand, usually you don't want to increase spend on Google Ads. Usually you want to spend less. Again, in my audits, I take on audits all the time where accounts like when you look at a third party tool like Northbeam or Triple Whale or something like that, um, and you cut Google Ads spend in half, like usually revenue stays the same. It doesn't really go down. So what happens is Google ad accounts, because of how this works, like they'll either overspend or underspend. It's a matter of finding the balance. And how you figure that out is the metrics I'm about to go over right now, the competitive metrics. So these are all basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 11 different ways to look at the same thing, basically. So search impression share is basically the first one you're going to look at. So it's essentially all of the available searches on Google Ads are 100%. The amount of times that your ad actually showed or was delivered, right? The amount of impressions that you got based on the amount of all the impressions is a search impression share. So if there were 1,000 searches and my ad showed 500 times, my search impression share is 50%. And we could see that here. So for my whole campaign, my search impression share was 12%. So that means for this period of time, my ability to scale, I could, if I wanted to show for 100% of all of these searches, and you usually can't. Usually you're not going to show for all of that. I would have spent $3,000 about, you figure you round this to 10%, multiply it by 10. I would have spent like somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000 based on that search impression share. So now there's a couple other more specific ones that give you more insight into maybe how to get to 100%, or again, you're never going to get to 100%. So search impression share top, right? This is now that same relationship, all available searches, right? The total audience of people searching. How many times were you on the top group that's above the organic listings? So going back to running shoes, search impression share top is basically how many times were you here out of all the available searches. So that's really helpful to know. Absolute top is the number 1 listing, right? So that's the same thing as those other 2 metrics in performance. I don't know why they duplicated these like that. I actually think they even show the same numbers. So let's see. So top is 30. Absolute top is 30. Top is 88. So absolute. So they actually don't show the same numbers. So I'll have to, it's pretty interesting that they wouldn't show the same numbers, because it's generally the same thing. But either way, again, it's really, again, with this stuff, it's not about exacts, it's about trends. So I use these more than the other one. And basically what I do, okay, so this one doesn't include search partner data. Maybe the other one does. So that's pretty interesting. No, this doesn't include search partners. So I don't know. I'll have to look into that, maybe provide an update to this course why they're different. I actually have no idea. But either way, again, like we're looking for trends. So if you're trying to increase this or decrease this, which we'll talk more about in bidding and scaling, these metrics help you figure out why to do that. So now there's others that are more important in here. I'm about to get into those next. Basically, now rank. Rank is really, really important, these search metric ones. So now it's the same thing here. Search impression share, search top, and then absolute top. You have the same three metrics here. So search impression share, top, and absolute top. But these explain why you aren't at the top all the time, why you're not 100%. And this group here, these three, is about rank. Now, rank basically is a Google consolidated metric that basically means your ad sucked. And it's for three different reasons that your ad sucks. Now, I'll go into the most important one, bid. If you're not paying enough per click, that's usually what rank is going to show you. And the reason is because if you structure ad groups the right way, like we're going to talk about in this course, the other stuff isn't going to be as big of a problem. So that's website quality and basically ad relevance, right? Is all this other stuff. So how basically does your keyword match what's in your ad, match what's on your landing page, right? So a good example is like you wouldn't send an ad for running shoes, right? You wouldn't bid on running shoes and then send them to a product page for running pants. That wouldn't make any sense. Nobody would do that, and because of that, you'll get a bad ad rank, and that will actually impact these numbers. But again, like if you build accounts thoughtfully with you know themes and rhyme and reason behind why you're doing this, then a lot of the time this is going to be based on bid. So bid is usually the most important factor here for rank. Budget is the next one. So these are the same metrics again. Search impression share, top, absolute top. But now for these three, the limiting factor is budget. So going back to the metrics, like let's figure out why did I not show for 100% of the $3,000 I could have spent, right? And the reason is mostly rank. My rank sucked. I should have been paying, 3 times more per click, basically, is what this is saying, right? So I showed for about a third, according to my bids. So I should have been paying a lot more CPCs. But if I didn't want to increase the CPCs at all and I still wanted to show more, I had room I could have increased the budget about 15 to 20%. So I missed out on probably like 15 to 20% based on not having enough daily budget. So I had a budget of $50 a day. You could see it ebbed and flowed a little bit. And if we change this to cost, and I'll go more into the time series here in a little bit, how to read it. So cost, you can see like $50 a day. So if I spent like $60 a day, these would all say 0. That's how this works. So, again, like now this is where it gets interesting because with certain keywords, and this is a main reason for splitting out campaigns based on the type of keywords you're bidding on, and we'll go into that later in the course, but these metrics help you figure out where to put money in the account to get the most return. And if you're not looking at these, you are not doing Google Ads right. You have no idea what you're doing. If you're not looking at this stuff, you're doing it wrong. This course will help you. It'll help make a lot more sense of this stuff. You'll understand what you're looking for, why you're looking for it, what to do. So just keep this in mind. These metrics and keywords, this is like the bread and butter of Google Ads. So again, like this told me that if I wanted to scale this, I'd have to spend more money. But if I'm spending more money per click, I'm going to be making less money, right? Like now my ROAS is going to go down by, if I triple the CPCs for the same set of data, now my ROAS is going to be 0.08. It's going to be even lower. So, again, generally speaking, like the more you pay per click, the lower your return is going to be for the same amount of traffic, but not always. And we'll go into that more with bidding and scaling. So these are the competitive metrics. I usually like to put them in that order so they're easy to read. And then the last two are exact match and click share. I don't use these as much. They're there. I'll keep an eye on them. But basically this is, exact match. Now this has become less important over the last few years, especially because exact match keywords like don't work the same way they used to. We'll go into keyword modifiers later. This will make more sense, but essentially like this metric, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes away soon. And then click share is basically saying like how engaging is your ad copy? How relevant are your keywords to your ad? So I tried to make these real relevant, right? Like anytime anyone searched for Aquarius related jewelry, they saw my Aquarius related ad, they went to my Aquarius related landing page, but the landing page has nothing to do with click share. So this will give you an idea for like essentially how many clicks could you have gotten had your ad been essentially we'll read it out, right? The clicks you've received on the search network based on the number of clicks that you could have gotten. So I actually like, again, this is another one I don't really use very much. I'll keep an eye on it and I'll look at it, but really it's these other ones here that are most important. So I don't know if you've got a better way to explain these. Let me know. If you use them for certain things, let me know. I usually don't. I like these, but these are here for you too.